Have you ever noticed how the smallest problems can lead to the biggest surprises? Sometimes what looks like just a broken thing that needs fixing turns out to be the start of something wonderful. That's exactly what happened to me when a dripping faucet brought an unexpected visitor to my door and changed everything I thought I knew about second chances. Let me tell you about the day my world got a little brighter, all because of some leaky pipes and a kind neighbor. I'm Eleanor, and I'm 74 years old. That Tuesday afternoon started like any other boring day. I stood in my bathroom, staring at the shower head that kept dripping. Drip, drip, drip. The sound was driving me crazy, but in a weird way I'd gotten used to it. The bathroom had these old blue tiles that looked like they were from another time. Everything smelled like the soap I use and something earthy from the old water pipes. Being alone gets pretty quiet when you're my age. My husband William passed away years ago, and my daughter Sarah lives across town. The days can feel very long and silent. That dripping shower had been making noise for weeks, but I didn't do anything about it. Maybe I liked having something to listen to besides my own thoughts. Then Sarah came over and gave me that look mothers know too well. "Mum, why don't you ask Tom from next door to fix it? He's good with tools and he's really nice," she said. I hadn't talked to Tom much lately. He's 66 and used to work as a carpenter. His wife died a few years back too. He still works part-time at the feed store. He has grey hair and a voice that sounds warm and friendly. I felt nervous, but I picked up the phone and called him. "Hi, Eleanor. Sure, I can come over tomorrow at lunchtime." "Sounds easy enough. I'll bring my tools," he said in his calm, relaxed way. The next day, I heard his truck pull up before he even knocked. When I opened the door, there he was with his toolbox and a friendly smile. He wore an old grey shirt and work pants. His arms showed he'd done hard work his whole life. "Good afternoon. Is that shower still making trouble?" he asked with a grin. "Yes, it won't stop," I replied. "Would you like some tea? I have the herb kind, nothing fancy, but I can make some if you want." He laughed quietly. "Herb tea sounds perfect. Life doesn't need to rush, right?" That was Tom all over. He made everything feel relaxed and easy. He went into the bathroom and sat down on the floor to look at the shower. I stood in the doorway with my teacup, watching the steam rise up. He hummed an old song while he worked, turning the pipes and tapping on things with his tools. We started talking about simple stuff. The flowers growing late this year. The bird feeder at the park that squirrels kept stealing from. How the bakery changed their bread recipe. But underneath all that small talk, something else was happening. We were two lonely people who both knew what it felt like to live in a quiet, empty house. You ever notice how everything gets peaceful, and then something breaks just to remind you life's still happening? Tom said while fixing the shower. I laughed a little. Maybe it's not trying to bother us. Maybe it's just keeping us from getting too stuck in our ways. He stopped working and looked at me. The moment felt heavy with meaning. Could be. Or maybe it just shows we're meant to keep going no matter what. Finally, he stood up and wiped his hands on a cloth. All done. It was just a worn-out seal. I put in a new one, and it should work fine now. I turned on the water and then off. No more dripping. Just clean silence. "Thank you so much," I said, meaning it more than just for fixing the shower. Tom didn't leave right away. He stayed there looking around like he was remembering something. "I miss having noise in the house sometimes," I said suddenly. The sound of people walking around, dishes clinking at dinner, voices and laughter. Even doors slamming. He turned to face me, his face looking soft and understanding. "I know exactly what you mean. The empty spaces are louder than you'd think." It wasn't like in romance movies. It was real and honest. Two people who'd been alone admitting they were tired of being lonely. "Want to stay for lunch?" I asked carefully. I made soup. Nothing special, but it's hot and ready. His smile grew slowly. I'd love to, but only if I can run home and grab the bread I baked yesterday. It's still fresh and crusty. We sat at my old wooden kitchen table. I served carrot and ginger soup with thick slices of his homemade bread and butter melting into it. We talked about all sorts of things. Old music records we loved. How to make the perfect pie. Little joys that make regular days special. At one point, he passed me the salt shaker and our hands touched for just a second. That small touch felt warm and stayed with me all afternoon. When it was time for him to go, he stopped at the door. He didn't hug me or kiss me, but he put his hand gently on my shoulder. I might come back on Thursday, he said in his steady voice. Your gate latch has been squeaking like it wants attention. I smiled. You better make sure it gets fixed then. After he left, I leaned against the doorframe, looking at where he'd been standing. It was strange that a simple dripping pipe could make me feel alive again. Maybe broken things aren't bad. Maybe they're chances to fix more than just what's broken on the outside. That evening after Tom went home, I walked back to the bathroom. The quiet felt huge and empty now. I turned the shower on and off a few times, missing that dripping sound. Funny how we get used to annoying things until they're gone, and we actually miss them. I couldn't sleep that night. The bed felt too big and empty. For the first time in years, being alone really bothered me. I kept thinking about Tom, how he moved when he worked, how he looked at me without pity or treating me like I was too old. That little touch of our hands had woken up feelings I thought were gone forever. Morning came with soft golden light. I got up and put on my sweater, walking barefoot to the kitchen. The cold floor made my feet tingle. I saw the 2 teacups we'd used yesterday sitting by the sink. Without thinking too hard about it, I picked up the phone and called Tom. Good morning, I said when he answered, my heart beating fast. Eleanor, twice in 2 days. What's the special occasion? He sounded happy and surprised. Just wondering if that gate is still squeaking, I said, trying to sound casual. How about tonight? I could bring those lemon cookies from the market. You know, the ones with the sticky glaze. You remember those? He asked softly. I remember more than just cookies, he said quietly. When evening came and the sky turned purple, Tom arrived. Instead of his toolbox, he carried a bag with pastries and 2 bottles of fizzy ginger soda. My husband William used to love those sodas. Tom couldn't have known that, but it felt like a sign. We sat on the front steps as it got dark. The neighborhood got quiet except for crickets chirping. The gate latch wasn't really broken. Maybe it squeaked once. Or maybe I just made it up as an excuse to see him again. He checked it quickly, said it was fine, then sat down next to me. Our shoulders touched lightly. We drank our sodas and ate cookies while the sky changed from orange to dark blue with stars coming out. His knee bumped against mine and stayed there. It's been so long since someone just sat with me like this, I said quietly. Just being together. Tom's face caught the light from my porch. It's been forever since I let myself do this. Feels good. Like stretching after being hunched over too long. I looked at him carefully. His eyes were grey with silver flecks in them. Full of kindness. He reminded me of William sitting on these same steps. William and I used to sit here at night, I said slowly. Holding hands, just letting the night happen around us. We didn't need to talk. The world did the talking for us. Without making a big deal of it, Tom reached for my hand. He offered it gently, not demanding anything. I took it. Our hands fit together perfectly, like they were meant to hold each other. It felt comfortable and right. When the evening got darker, he stood up. Our hands separated slowly, neither of us wanting to let go. I should probably head home, he said, though he didn't sound like he wanted to. You could stay a bit longer, I said softly. feeling brave and scared at the same time. He looked at my face carefully, his thumb rubbing gentle circles on my hand. I'd really like that. We went inside. The house felt like it was breathing easier with both of us there. We didn't need to fill the quiet with talk. Silence felt nice. In the living room with its old chairs and shelves full of books, I lit a candle. It smelled like vanilla and cloves, making everything feel warm and inviting. He sat on the couch and I sat next to him, closer than I normally would. Our legs touched. I feel lost in all this, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. I don't know what I'm doing. Me neither, he said, leaning closer so I could feel his warmth. But it feels right. Nothing scary about it. No, I agreed, my throat feeling tight with emotion. It doesn't feel scary at all. He pulled me close then, his arms wrapping around me in a hug of soft flannel and strength. I rested my cheek against his chest and heard his heartbeat, steady and strong. Tears came to my eyes, but not sad tears. These were happy tears because I felt joy again, a feeling I thought had died with my old life. Tom stayed the night, sleeping on the couch with a wool blanket. It smells like tea and old letters, he joked. I said it smelled like home and comfort. Before we went to sleep, I bent down and kissed his forehead. You fixed more than just a shower today, I whispered. He looked at me with clear, honest eyes. And you opened a door I thought was closed forever. I went to my bedroom feeling warm inside, not from blankets but from being seen and cared for. I fell asleep listening to him breathing in the next room, like a lullaby. I curled up with my pillow and smiled, feeling like the sun was rising early inside my heart. Maybe we'd built something real together, not with tools and screws, but with looks that lasted a little longer, small touches that said so much, and the brave choice to show up and try. The next morning, gentle sunlight filled the walls with golden light. I woke up slowly, forgetting for a moment that someone else was in the house. A clattering sound from the kitchen reminded me. Tom was here. I put on my robe and walked toward the noise. There he was at the stove with his sleeves rolled up and bare feet on the rug, flipping pancakes with a spatula. 2 mugs of steaming coffee sat on the counter. The sight made my heart feel full. This was what home was supposed to feel like. Didn't mean to wake you up, he said over his shoulder with a grin. Thought you might want fluffy pancakes with a little vanilla. My heart skipped a beat. You didn't have to do this. He put pancakes on a plate and poured syrup over them. I wanted to, not because I had to. We sat at the table eating, our knees touching underneath. We didn't talk much, just enjoyed the crunch of bacon and hummed when something tasted good. When we finished, he insisted on washing the dishes, even though I said he didn't need to. Bubbles floated up from the sink while he scrubbed. When he was done, he leaned against the counter and looked at me. This house feels different, Eleanor. You make it breathe easier. It feels right being here. I told him the truth simply. You make me feel alive again. That afternoon we sat outside on the back patio where purple flowers hung from a wooden frame. I'd put on a light green dress with pearl buttons, something I hadn't worn in years. I wore it not to show off, but because it made me feel alive. Tom saw me and stopped. You look like spring decided to stick around, he said. My cheeks got warm, but I smiled. It's just an old dress. No, he said, his voice warm and scratchy. It's the woman wearing it that makes it special. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in forever. We walked around the block later, not touching but staying close. We waved at neighbors. Some people looked twice, surprised to see us together. But I didn't care what anyone thought. For once, other people's opinions didn't matter. Back home, we sat on the porch swing. The chains squeaked as we rocked gently. We sat close, a warm feeling building between us, not rushed but steady and sure. Do you ever feel like there's still unwritten pages in your story? I asked. Tom looked at me steady and clear. Every single morning. I swallowed hard. You surprised me, Tom. I thought that part of my life ended when William died. You surprised me right back, he said, his knuckles touching my face gently, tucking a loose piece of hair behind my ear. Until I saw you there, fighting with that shower like it had personally insulted you. We laughed, but his hand stayed on my cheek, his thumb soft against my skin. I leaned into his touch, following my instincts instead of overthinking. His hand moved slowly, touching my jaw and ear before his lips met mine in a kiss. It wasn't wild or rushed. It was gentle and sweet, like tasting something precious you'd been missing. I kissed him back, my hands grabbing his shirt collar to hold on to this moment. We didn't need words after that. Our eyes said everything. With our foreheads pressed together, he whispered, I missed this more than I knew. And I missed having someone to share it with, I whispered back. As evening came, we cooked stew together in the kitchen. Our elbows bumped playfully while we worked. We laughed at the sizzle of onions in the pan. We pretended to be clumsy and spilled pepper, then cleaned it up together while sharing looks and smiles. It felt young and fun without trying too hard. After dinner, we sat on the couch together. His arm went around me like a shelter while we watched an old Western movie on TV. I couldn't remember the movie's name, but the lonely trails in it reminded me of our own journeys. In the flickering light from the screen, I looked at his face. This wasn't about being young again. This was about honoring who we are now. Our scars were like signposts showing where we'd been. Our loneliness was the soil that helped this new thing grow between us. We were two travelers whose paths had finally crossed. When it got late, he held my hands at the door. Tomorrow? He said. It wasn't a question begging for an answer. It was a promise. Tomorrow, I agreed, because endings felt wrong now. We were learning the language of beginnings again. The next morning I woke up early, before the birds started singing. I didn't worry about chores or aches and pains or to-do lists. I just thought about Tom. How he held my hand. The way he looked at me. That kiss that felt like a door swinging open to let light in. In the kitchen, I found myself humming an old song I hadn't thought about in years while I made coffee. It was a happy sound, rusty from not being used but coming back to life. At lunchtime, Tom showed up with a bunch of wildflowers, daisies and white lacy ones, tied together with rough string. They were roadside flowers, more beautiful than fancy store-bought ones. I saw these tough little guys growing through gravel, he explained, holding them out to me. They reminded me of fresh mornings and wild things. Our fingers touched when I took them, creating a spark between us. A little wild, aren't they? I said, Are we wild too? He asked, eyes twinkling. Wild and growing strong, I agreed. The hours flowed smoothly together. We went to the post office where he carried my packages easily. At the grocery store, his cart steadied mine when other carts bumped around. We even stopped at a clothing shop where he sat patiently, while I tried on a soft cashmere scarf. Lunch at the diner found us sitting across from each other in a vinyl booth. He watched me the whole time, really seeing me, not looking past me or through me, but at me, taking in everything about who I am. And in his gaze, I saw myself reflected back, whole and alive and worthy of love. This is how it began. Not with fireworks or grand gestures, but with a broken shower, willing hands, and two hearts brave enough to try again.